Today we're at Presque Isle State Park, Erie, Pennsylvania. If you're looking for that let's do it all and ride our bikes family vacation, this is the place. Presque Isle State Park is a 3,200-acre paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. Now we're here for the bike trail, of course, the Karl Boyes Multi-Purpose National Recreation Trail. This 13.5-mile paved trail is so scenic, and being part of this beautiful and historic park where there's so much to do, well, we just had to show it to you. We start our adventure at the Tamarind Environmental Center. We'll take in the beaches, hiking trails, paddle around the bays in a rented kayak, tour the Presque Isle Light House, and eat at Sara's. We're at the Tamarind Environmental Center, which is just outside the entrance to Presque Isle State Park. This place is really the gateway to Presque Isle. The center is open year-round, and we're going to learn a lot. So let's go inside. To get a real feel for Presque Isle, you need to come inside the center. I'm with Emily Hauser, who's a naturalist here, and she's going to give us the lowdown on the center.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for coming to our beautiful Tamarind Environmental Center.
Boy, Presque Isle is such a unique place. Tell us what the center offers.
Sure, the Tamarind Environmental Center is open year-round, and it really is the gateway to Presque Isle State Park.
Yeah.
Come on in, it is free and it is fun for all ages. We have exhibits, we have hands-on activities, we always have educational programs going on. 2 floors of exhibits that tell you everything about the peninsula, the plants, the animals, and the habitats that we have out here.
And this is a place not just for kids, this is for adults.
Definitely, this is an all-age experience.
And we're covering all natural aspects, birding, wildlife.
Yep. So the Presque Isle State Park is not only home to some really awesome birds, of course migratory and residential, but we have a lot of other different wildlife, plants, and a wide variety of recreational opportunities available for you and I.
And the center's going to tell us all about the details of this stuff. So let's go look at some of those places.
All right.
Emily, we are surrounded by, not only is it educational and accurate, but it's beautiful displays here.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, here at the Tamarind Environmental Center, our first floor exhibits highlight the different habitats that can be found on Presque Isle State Park, and that's what these exhibits are all about. They are beautifully done, and as you said, very educational and fun to look at.
Yeah, and they're kid-friendly.
They are kid-friendly, yes. There are certain things that kids and adults, of course, can come on up, they can lift things up, they can push things around, and really learn through interactive education.
Yeah, we learn by touching and feeling.
Most definitely,
yeah,
yes. And we're a nature center, so we, touch is a good thing.
Emily, tell us about the other amenities here at the center.
Sure. Here at the Tamarind Environment Center, we also have a gift shop where they sell a variety of Presque Isle and Lake Erie gifts, souvenirs for you to take home. We have a cafe where you can get a healthy snack or lunch. And then we have our large format theater that we call the Big Green Screen.
Yeah, so tell us, you have movies here.
We do have movies, yes. So we play environmentally themed educational movies, but they're really fun.
Yeah, not everybody learns by touching and feeling.
Exactly.
They're gonna watch a movie.
Watch a movie. We're always changing them out, and so there's something new playing all the time. Come on in, get yourself some popcorn snacks at our concession stand, and enjoy a movie.
How big is that big green screen?
That screen is over 4 stories high.
Wow. Don't sit too close.
Don't sit too close, you get the crank in the neck. But any seat you pick in there is a wonderful experience.
I think we humans are a lot like cats in that we like to get up on the highest point so we can get a view of everything. Emily, tell us about the tower here.
Sure, so we have a tower that you can climb the steps or ride the elevator to the top and get an amazing view of Lake Erie and the surrounding area.
Ah, well, let's do that. From here we can see Waldameer Water World, one of the oldest amusement parks in the country. It started in 1896 as a picnic area owned by the local trolley company. Here along the shores of beautiful Lake Erie, Waldameer, which is German for woods by the sea, is right next to the Tom Ridge Environmental Center and a popular place for thrill seekers. The first couple miles of this trail follow Peninsula Drive, where we pass at least 5 parking lots, so you shouldn't have to worry about parking your car. We have a great view of Presque Isle Bay. We ride across a convenient boat launch right here. This trail starts at the park entrance and continues around the perimeter of the peninsula, following the bay shore on this side and the Lake Erie shoreline on the other side. Across the water and all along there is the city of Erie. As you ride this trail, you'll see how accessible it is, with restrooms and picnic tables available all along the way. Presque Isle State Park is one of the top birding spots in the country because it's located on the Atlantic Flyway. It's a good spot for birds to feed and rest on their migration across Lake Erie. From here, it's only about 25 miles as the birdie flies to a curving piece of land on Canada's side of the lake called Long Point Peninsula. More than 320 species of birds have been identified here. A bird checklist is available at the park office. We've ridden about 5.5 miles as we approach the Perry Monument on a pier of land next to Misery Bay. Oliver Hazard Perry is one of the most celebrated military leaders in U.S. history. The Perry Monument memorializes the years Perry spent here building a fleet of warships in the bay, leading his men to 9 Lake Erie military campaign victories, and essentially securing America's victory in the fight to claim the West. The hero of Lake Erie, as Commodore Perry became known after the War of 1812, wrote to General William Henry Harrison those famous words, "We have met the enemy, and they are ours." I urge you to spend a little time at the monument. There are park benches, nice restrooms, plenty of shade trees, and many historical placards to read. Time for a break from the pedaling action and enjoy a little paddling. I've been told the best way to experience the interior of Presque Isle is in a boat. So I'm with Ron today of the Presque Isle Canoe and Boat Livery. And Ron, you're going to help me get into a boat today.
Yes, I am.
Tell me what all you offer here at the livery.
Pretty much anything you need to get on the water. Short of anything fast, really.
Okay, okay, so hand-powered boats.
Hand-powered, electric, and small outboards.
Ron, tell me what you love about the lagoons.
Quiet,
Yeah.
serenity, peaceful. You go back there, people come back and they think, it's like another world.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, I thought I was in Florida in the Everglades or something, you know, because you never know what you'll see.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
impressive.
There's so much wildlife here.
Everything. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been bear, coyotes, things drift through.
Okay.
They come along Lake Erie shoreline,
Yeah.
and they'll stop here for a season or so, and then they'll move on.
So tell me when you're open for business.
We generally open weekends in the months of May and September, weather
Okay.
permitting, and we would be here probably 10 to 6. And then after, well, including Memorial Weekend, we'll be open 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening, 7 days a week.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so we've got good coverage.
Sure, because the best time to view wildlife is in the mornings and the evenings when they're feeding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, they'll come out.
And you're not far from the bike trail.
No, it's right across the road.
It's right here.
Yeah.
So when you're riding your bikes at Presque Isle, if you get the chance, you got to come out to the canoe livery. So now let's get in a boat, huh?
All right.
All right.
You ready?
We're in the widest part of the peninsula, where several ponds connect. These are the interior waterways, where gasoline engines are prohibited. Often referred to as the Lagoons, we could spend hours exploring this area. We started in Graveyard Pond, thought to be the final resting place of Commodore Perry's men who succumbed to a variety of diseases during the brutal winter they spent here. Paddling a canoe always makes me think of our Native American ancestors. The earliest known inhabitants of this area were the Eries. And Erie's legend taught that the Great Spirit led them to Presque Isle because of the abundance of game, of clean water, and the cool breezes coming from the land of snow and ice. That would be present-day Canada. Another legend explains how the Eries ventured onto Lake Erie in search of the land where the sun set. But the spirit of the lake blew a fierce storm to keep them from finding it. To protect the Eries from the storm, their god laid out his arm into the lake, giving them safety. The god's arm remained in the lake to protect their future generations. It's believed the Eries lived and farmed on the peninsula. By 1656, the Eries had been destroyed by the Iroquois, but their heritage, their memory, and their name live on. We learned at the Tamarind Center that Presque Isle is always changing with nature's influence. The French name Presque Isle means almost an island, but the area has actually been a real island several times. Storm waves have broken through the neck to isolate the main section of the peninsula at least 4 times since 1819. One gap remained open for 32 years. We're taking a little scenic side trip here from the bike trail at the road to the Coast Guard station. About a mile from this point is the Port of Erie and the shipping entrance to the bay. The old North Pier light is out there too. This is Horseshoe Pond, home to these peculiar floating homes. These are the only homes on the peninsula. Remember, this is a state park and it's for day use only. No overnight camping allowed on Presque Isle. But these are summer vacation homes for 24 lucky families. The home sites have been here since 1962. Governed by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, they can be remodeled and rebuilt, but they rarely go up for sale. This is the entrance channel for Port Erie, an important freight hub. Presque Isle creates a perfectly protected harbor for ships carrying all types of cargo. With 2 interstate highways, an international airport, and direct rail access, freight coming in and out of this harbor can efficiently serve the nearly 85 million people within a 500-mile radius. Popular with fishermen, the channel is 29 feet deep. Ah, the North Pier Light. This metal tower was built in 1858. It's 34 feet tall and still aids mariners with a red light that marks the channel. No longer in service, the Erie Land Lighthouse seen here was the very first lighthouse on the entire Great Lakes. The original structure was built in 1818. As we leave the North Pier, we head around the eastern end of Presque Isle and we'll soon see the Lake Erie shoreline. East of this trail is more land. It's called Gall Point, and it's been set aside as a protected area for shorebirds to rest, feed, and nest. Visitors can hike a 1.5-mile trail to an observation platform. Check the condition of the trail by calling the Tamarind Center first. Those sand dunes you see are one of the many interesting aspects of Presque Isle. They are the natural response to the major winds and waves that create a continuous cycle of erosion and growth of the shoreline. You notice that the trail runs alongside the road in some sections, but even a timid cyclist needn't worry about speeding traffic here. The speed limit for cars is only 25 miles per hour. We've seen 2 of Erie's 3 lighthouses, one across the channel on the mainland, and the other sitting right on the channel pier. Now we get to tour the 3rd one. This lighthouse sits on the beach facing the greater Lake Erie. Here we are at the Presque Isle Lighthouse. You can't miss it. It's right along the bike trail and the main road on the north shore of the peninsula. It's the 2nd oldest lighthouse on the American Lake Erie coast. Let's go inside to get a little tour. We're inside the lighthouse and I'm with Michael Sullivan, the director here. Michael, tell us about this historical building.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I am the executive director of the Lighthouse. The house was built in 1872, started to be built in 1872 by the government, finished in 1873, and is an operating lighthouse, which it still is today, which makes it very cool. The house was built for $15,000, but it's been a continuing operating lighthouse. There's been people living in the house up till about 3 years ago. There was always lightkeepers here through the 1940s, and then after that it was park personnel and Coast Guard personnel.
I see. I understand it was like chain linked, fenced off.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Even me, I was born and raised here in the Erie area, and you just could not see the lighthouse. If we're looking out these windows, it was all overgrown. You could see it from the lakeside, of course, but back here was all overgrown. Chain link fenced around the entire house and stuff, and private property do not come in signs all over the place.
So Michael, everybody wants to see that view of Lake Erie and Presque Isle, and we can do that by going up in the tower.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go see it.
Come on, let's do it.
Michael, the view up here is fabulous.
Yeah,
yes, it is. Yeah, this is great.
Spectacular. And you can see Lake Erie here, about 80 miles down the lake. East of us is Buffalo.
Okay.
About 35 miles across would be Canada.
All right.
And then west here, about 80 or 100 miles would be, you'd head down to Cleveland.
All right.
So these kind of give you reference points of what's going on out here. But it's a gorgeous morning. You can see the lake. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is. Look how blue it is out there.
Right. Yep.
Birds are flying. Yeah, this is fabulous.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the light up here.
Well, this light here, it's an LED light. We had a fourth order Fresnel. There's one downstairs that I think you saw earlier. But this light here has been here, I think, since 1972.
Okay.
It's maintained by the Coast Guard out of the Buffalo Station. And you can see about 13 miles out in the lake. Boaters can see it. So it's quite bright.
Yeah. And this thing flashes, what's the signal here?
I think it flashes every 4 seconds. On, off, on, off, on, off. And it'll come on at dusk all night long, of course. In January it comes on a little earlier than August and stuff. But
I see.
The beacon is gorgeous from any reference point out here on the beach.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
So tell me, remind me how many steps we climbed to get up here.
74 steps.
74 steps.
It's not bad. Some of the huge ocean lighthouses are 200. I think Cape Hatteras is about 220. So this is 74 steps. So it's a good sized lighthouse. And it works for.
So if I'm riding my bike, I've got plenty of energy to climb 74 steps.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. You can get up here. We had. I was mentioning earlier, some bikers came in last year from England. There's about 30 or 40 of them. But the bike tours are always in great shape, and they always come right up the lighthouse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, this is great. Good. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And come back and visit us whenever you can.
All righty.
Love to have you.
Thanks.
All right.
We came here to ride our bikes, but I've got to point out the great hiking opportunities here. Presque Isle offers 11 miles of trails. They vary in length from very short to almost 2 miles long and traverse the peninsula. Here, across the road from the lighthouse, you can access 4 different trails. Just a short walk, and you'll see how and why this peninsula provides the perfect environment for such a diverse population of wildlife and plants. It's estimated 4 million people visit Presque Isle every year. And the 11 miles of beaches are what make Presque Isle a magnet for locals and tourists from all over. Different beaches have different amenities, but they all have one thing in common: great sand and awesome water. Be sure to spend some time just hanging out on one of the beaches on Presque Isle. From 1908 to 1949, the city of Erie got its drinking water from here at the Waterworks plant. Water from Lake Erie was pumped into a series of 2 settling ponds to clean the water before it was pumped across the bay to the city. The Yellow Bike Rental Company is located here, where you can rent bikes, surreys, and water trikes. Located on the narrower part of the peninsula, about 2.5 miles from the entrance, this area is Central Station for family fun. It's all here: picnic shelter, restrooms, playground, lifeguard headquarters. It's close to the beach, and there's a sand volleyball court nearby. When we were here, it was early in the year, But in summertime, these beaches are full of sunbathers and surf lovers. Many folks have been coming to Presque Isle for generations to celebrate family milestones and reunions. At the Tom Ridge Center, there's a wonderful collection of old photographs depicting a century of memories made here on these beaches and trails. Those rocky ridges in the water you see are called breakwaters, and they may become a thing of the past as the state looks for a different way to control beach erosion and save money on sand replenishment. One plan is to submerge those rock walls in an attempt to create a collection area for sand to be used on the beaches. This was my third trip to Presque Isle, and I found new adventure here every time. I sincerely recommend it to your list of places to explore. We're ending our ride like many folks end their day at Presque Isle with a stop at Sara's. It's just yards outside the entrance to the park and accessible by bike. We're here because this place is too fun to pass up, and we heard the food is good. Inside and out, you'll see the place is carefully decorated like an old drive-in. It's a fun place for families. Great music is playing all the time. The motto here is, food tastes better with a smile. Sara's offers a large menu of your normal drive-in food items and ice cream. And we found it clean and well kept. You can eat inside or out. Owner Sean says Sara's offers the best quality food he can find with a unique customer experience. They're pretty fast too. They home make their onion rings and zucchini. Oh, and the milkshakes? Well, they're made with real fruit, not syrups. And they were definitely my favorite item on the menu. Locals tell me the best thing to eat here at Sara's is their hot dog, because they're made locally by a place called Smith's. Well, that'll do it for our episode here on the Karl Boyes Multi-Purpose Trail here at Presque Isle. I hope you'll join me for another path pedaling adventure.